What's up guys, OCDMTG coming back at you with another deck profile video. Today we're working on Mono White. We're still on that 5-part series. Sorry it's taken a couple weeks to get onto this next one, but I've been working out some kinks in the deck profiles, so here we go. It is finally ready. AO the Dawn Sky, 5/4 Dragon Spirit, Flying Vigilance. We are utilizing this deck for its first ability. Whenever AO dies, you get to look at the top 7 cards of your library, put in a number of non-land permanents with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. You can use its second ability if you're in a pinch and you want to just swing out and hit people for game, but we're using the first ability to get combo pieces and combo out for a win. So AO the Dawn Sky as our commander. Next, we're going on to creatures. Here's our main win con in the form of creatures, Heliod and Walking Ballista. Pretty simple combo. Have a Walking Ballista enter with 2++ counters on it. Give it lifelink with Heliod, ping everybody until you are the last one standing. So here's the combo we are trying to get. Easy stuff. All of our permanents in the deck that are non-land are going to be 4 or less for the AO trigger. You want to maximize it as much as possible for this list, so everything except for one card in this deck is going to be 4 or less, except for this Sun Titan. Sun Titan is a 6-drop. Basically, you're using this to get value pieces that are 3 or less back from your graveyard and recurring them for value or for key pieces that you want to use for your combo. And also itself can be used as part of a combo. We can go over that later. So Sun Titan, the only creature that is more than 4. We have Serra Ascendant, really good early game. Basically, I'm utilizing this to get with Heliod triggers to, every time I gain life, put counters on creatures. But Serra Ascendant, really good for 6/6 flying lifelink. We've got 2 0-drop artifacts other than Walking Ballista. Memnite Ornithopter, also going to be used for combos. We got 5 creature tutors. 2 of them get artifacts in Stoneforge Mystic and Oswald Fiddlebender. Stoneforge getting out specifically 3 different equipment pieces. Oswald there to get key artifacts. Moonblessed Cleric is there to get enchantments. Can put it on top of your library. And then we got Ranger Captain and Recruiter of the Guard. Ranger Captain is a good silence effect as well. Whenever you're trying to go for that win, sack Ranger Captain. Make it so that your opponents can't cast stuff during your turn when you're going for that win. But yeah, Recruiter and Ranger, good for getting Esper Sentinel, Walking Ballista, stuff like that. Card draw creatures, we got Mangara, Archivist of Ogma, and Esper Sentinel. Esper Sentinel is especially good with AO. If you have an AO die and put counters on your creature's effect, put them on Esper Sentinel. Makes your opponents have to pay more to draw you cards, blah, 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 blah. Mangara good for if your opponents are casting multiple spells each turn. Archivist good if your opponents are tutoring a lot. So 3 card draw creatures. 3 guys that get us lands from the deck. We got Deep Gnome Terramancer, Claim Jumper, Weathered Wayfarer. Weathered Wayfarer is specifically good for getting Nykthos. You want Nykthos mid to late game. So we got 3 removal creatures. We got Fiend Hunter, Cather Commando, and Leonin Relic Warder. These 2 really good for using with Sun Titan, but also Fiend Hunter is good for a combo. So Fiend Hunter, always good. We got 5 stax piece creatures. All the stax pieces in the deck are going to be one-sided stax pieces. We want to slow down our opponents as much as possible, but we want to make sure that we're using one-sided stax pieces for this build. We got Dauntless Dismantler, Drannith Magistrate, Avid Interrupter, Avid Mind Sensor, and Linvala. Each of them good against very specific archetypes and decks. The fact that Avid Interrupter and Avid Mind Sensor flash speed as well, so good for interaction, and also it can be good for stax piece. Drannith always good, stop your opponents early on if you can get it out turn 1 or 2 to then, well, turn 2 mostly. I don't have any 0-drop artifacts that produce mana, but good for keeping commanders out that are pesky, that are bad against your deck. Dauntless Dismantler also can be used for removal, but you're mostly using it for that stax piece. So we've got those 5. Then we got recursion creatures. We got Restoration Specialists and Aurochs Salvagers. If you hit the Walking Ballista off the AO trigger, and it goes to the graveyard due to state-based actions, you can use these guys to get it back, or you can use them to grab back key pieces for value, removal, such and such. So these two in the deck. For protection, we got Giver and Mother of Runes. Good early game. Good for opponents that have a lot of single target removal. Also good for, combat stuff, giving protection. And then we got Myrel and Grand Abolisher. Play these for silence effects to go for the win on your turn. So those are all the creatures in the deck. Next, we're going to move on to artifacts and enchantments. For enchantments and artifacts, we have a decent handful. Like I said, all of them are going to be 4 or less. So, starting off with artifacts, we got Moon Silver Key, and we got Archaeomancer's Map. Can grab lands, can grab mana, blah, blah, blah. Also, Moon Silver Key can get Ashnod's Altar, sack outlets, basically. So, these two are in the deck. For removal, we got Dispeller's Capsule and Portable Hole. Also good for recurring with Sun Titan. 3 equipments, Skull Clamp, Blade of Selves, and Nim Death Mantle. Nim Death Mantle can be used in a combo. Blade of Selves, good for AO. Get AO out first, and then play the Blade of Selves next turn when AO can attack. So you're not wasting 6 mana to get this out and then have AO be destroyed. So with Blade of Selves and AO, basically you're going to be using the Myriad to make multiple AOs. So the more your opponents out, the better for Blade of Selves. You'll have multiple AO triggers, specifically 2 each turn maximum, to get off of those triggers. Skull Clamp, Death Mantle, which is also really good. We got Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Pearl Medallion. Standard mana stuff. And then we have our sack outlets, Altar of Dementia, Phyrexian Altar, Ashnod's Altar, and Relic Vial. This one is used for a combo to drain your opponents when you have a cleric out. But these are your 3 main things that you're getting off of, like Moon Silver Key, or if you're searching for an artifact. This can make your opponent's mill. And then this is used for infinite mana combos. So these 3 are the main ones you want to grab. And this is something you can use for a combo if you can't get the Altar of Dementia, basically. So drain your opponents for life, mill your opponents mana. And then for the enchantments, we got Enduring Renewal. This is a funky card. It's a 4-drop enchantment that says you play with your hand revealed. If you would draw a card, you actually look at the top of the library instead. If it's a creature, put it into your grave, otherwise draw a card. Whenever a creature is put into your grave from the play, return it to the hand. So you're using this enchantment when you're going for a win, and you're using it for this last ability specifically. You don't want to play this sooner. You want to play this when you're going for that win after your setup. So we have 2 other recursion enchantments of Gift of Immortality and Angelic Renewal. Gift of Immortality is going to be mostly put on AO, but you can also put this on Sun Titan to combo. So we'll go over that later. Land Tax and Smothering Tithe, very good early on, specifically Land Tax, but Smothering Tithe always good to have. We got 4 stax pieces in the form of enchantments: Authority of the Consuls, Blind Obedience, Ghostly Prison, and Orb of Silence. These 2 really good for gaining life, but also for stax pieces. If you have Heliod out, Blind Obedience, whenever you extort, you're going to gain a life. Heliod will put a counter on it every time you do that. Authority of the Consuls, whenever a creature opponent controls enters, you're going to gain life. Again, Heliod triggers. You want to put counters on either AO if you want to swing out for AO and win, or if you want to make your Esper Sentinel ridiculously huge, make your opponents basically never be able to pay for their taxes. Ghostly Prison for the protection, and Aura of Silence also can be used for removal, but you're mostly using it for the stax piece. Then we got Journey to Nowhere, Grasp of Fate, and Dark Steel Mutation, 3 enchantment removal spells. Basically, you are getting these off AO. Usually, you're not really casting them, so free removal until these leave at least. Dark Steel Mutation, good for keeping pesky commanders that are bad against the matchup. Basically, you're using this to stop the most threatening opponent, or the one that you think can win faster. Now we have lands. We have 4 utility lands. We're still running 28. We're running Ancient Den, Emeria, the Sky Ruin, Inventor's Fair, and Nykthos. You're grabbing Nykthos for mid to late game. Having all the extra mana with all your stacks and creatures out can be good. Inventor's Fair, also good with the Heliod synergy. During upkeep, if you have 3 more artifacts, you gain a life. And then you can also sacrifice it to get an artifact. So get a combo piece, basically. Walking Ballista or a sack outlet, blah, blah, blah. Emeria, the Sky Ruin, once you have 7 or more planes out, every upkeep you can bring back a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you're mid to late game with 7 planes, every time your AO is sent to the graveyard, it'll come back during upkeep. So little thing you can do if you have no other things to do. Ancient Den, artifact land, use it for Oswald Fiddlebender, or if you have something that searches for an artifact, you can grab a land technically. Also taps for white. These 2 tap for white, which is very useful, stuff like that. We have 24 basics as our other lands, so 28 lands total. 29 if you include an MDFC, which we have 1. So we have 12 instants and 2 sorceries. I tried to limit the amount of non-land permanent hits, or non-land and non-permanent cards, so that we get the most out of our AO triggers. So you're at least always hitting one thing every time and not whiffing. So we got 12 instants, Enlightened Tutor, Flare, Fortitude, good with the AO, especially if you are getting a board wiped. You sack the AO, get an AO trigger, all your stuff gets indestructible. So good stuff for there. Reprieve is like our only counter spell. Silence for silence effect if you're going for a win. Sajiri Shelter is our 1 MDFC. It's probably the best one in our color that we can use for utility, but also for land. Get Lost, Parting Gust, Swords, Path to Exile, Disenchant, and then our 2 funky spells, Faith's Reward and Brought Back. Good for bringing back AO. Faith's Reward, good for if board wipe happens, or if you sack a bunch of stuff to like a sack outlet and then you bring them all back. We got 2 sorceries, Savine's Reclamation and Idyllic Tutor. Looking for that combo piece, either Enduring Renewal, Heliod, or Savine's Reclamation, good for getting back Walking Ballista off of an AO trigger due to state-based actions. If you get it off an AO trigger, you can use Savine to bring this back, Walking Ballista back, or you can bring back a combo piece. I guess, yeah, mostly just combo pieces. If you bring back the Walking Ballista with Savines, then it's going to die again to state-based action. So, yeah. Just another form of recursion. So that's the deck. Explaining some of the combos. Like I said, Heliod Walking is our main combo, but we have another way of winning in the form of Sun Titan. Gift of Immortality on Sun Titan. So if Sun Titan were to leave, Gift of Immortality would trigger, bringing it back. And then during your end step, Gift of Immortality either comes back, but you can use Sun Titan to return it back from your graveyard, attaching it back to Sun Titan. So you have the Sun Titan, Gift of Immortality on it. You'll basically have infinite Sun Titan triggers of it coming back. So you're using that with a sack outlet. And then if you have a Altar of Dementia out, you can mill out all your opponents using these 2. You could also do a Fiend Hunter Sun Titan combo where you have a sack outlet like Ashnod's Altar or something. You have Sun Titan out, you have Fiend Hunter enter, it's going to exile the Sun Titan, and then you're going to have the sack outlet get rid of Fiend Hunter. Fiend Hunter leaves, Sun Titan comes back. Fiend Hunter's in your graveyard, Sun Titan triggers, you bring back Fiend Hunter. Also a way to mill out your opponents with Altar Dementia. You could also use these guys, either this combo or this combo, to do infinite mana with the Ashnod's Altar or Phyrexian Altar. So once you have the infinite mana, you can use that to either just manually casting a Walking Ballista for a bajillion, pinging everybody. You can bring back AO a bunch of times if you have a sack outlet to just get your whole deck and then hopefully get to the combo. So stuff like that. There's also a combo with Enduring Renewal. Once you have an Enduring Renewal out, like I said, you want to play this after you have the setup. So Enduring Renewal says whenever creatures put into your graveyard from play, you return it to your hand. So if you have a Memnite or an Ornithopter, and a sack outlet. Every time you sack something to the altar or the sack outlet, you'll have your Ornithopter Memnite go into the grave, triggering Endure Renewal and putting it back to your hand. Then you free cast it again because there's 0 drops. Sack them again. Get either Infinite Mill. Well, you can only get the mill off the Ornithopter or off the Memnite because it counts the power for Altar of Dementia. You can't get the mill off of Ornithopter, but you can still get the infinite mana from either one of these two. So, Enduring Renewal, like I said, you don't want to have it out early game before you have the setup, because you play with your hand revealed and you don't want to show your opponents your information that you're setting up for a win or blah, 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 stuff like that. But once you do have the setup, play it, go for the win. Otherwise, the first effect is kind of going to ruin your strategy a little bit. But, those are ways to win. That's the deck. Hope you guys like it. Leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions on anything also. For every one of my videos, I have links to my Mox fields for the deck lists. Still going to work on that mono blue profile. I just got to finish some kinks in that one. But that is our mono white deck. AO the Dawn Sky, signing out.